Hey everyone, it's 10 Types, and recently I did not know this. This was actually it was like 2 weeks ago, and I did not know about this. I don't remember when this was added to Limitless. I missed it, but I just saw it. And it was a Japanese expanded tournament. So expanded is black and white on. Japanese expanded is a little different. I don't know the exact differences. We'll talk about one in this video. The ban list is slightly different, I think, but I looked online. I couldn't actually find it anywhere. Um, it's pretty much the same though, and we'll talk about it in these videos. But I'm just going to be talking about, and I'm going to be doing a series of videos today. I'm just talking about one deck. That's going to be what's it called? Vileplume Control is what Limitless calls it here. Um, and yeah, but then next video we'll probably talk about Draco. This saw the most play, and so right now we only have the top 16. I do hope they add more data. If not, I might look elsewhere. But yeah, I'd rather look at Limitless because it has a good way to look at it. Um, Outside of that, there's some other decks that are really cool, but I will be covering them in another video. I don't know how many videos I'll be doing on this. I will definitely cover all these decks though. But yeah, let's just hop right into it. And actually, the first and fourth place deck are almost the same. They're technically different. Um, this list runs. I don't remember which one this is. Here, we can pull it up. This is okay. Yeah, this is the first place list. I guess I can open it like this. I can. There we go. I can open it like this. You can see the whole list, and that's right. It runs Neo Upper Energy, the A spec. That's pretty crazy. It runs this Pikachu. This Pikachu is not in English. It's not in international formats, but that's fine. It's interesting. We'll talk about it in just a moment. But outside of that, yeah, and that's all there is to say. Oh yeah, no, the first versus the third list or fourth list. I'll tell that difference right now. You see, this list runs two Iono in one end. The other list ran three Iono. Very small difference. But then this other list here is different. It's not like it's the same like deck, but it's a very different list. So we'll talk about that, or some pretty noticeable differences. Let's just hop right into it and talk about the general idea of the deck, starting with, I don't know, I guess we start with the Vileplume. I'll start with all of them. Oh, I'll start with Gloom. This is funny Gloom. I feel like it's funny. It's not that good, but once on your turn, you can, on a coin flip, drag a basic from your opponent's hand onto the bench. It's like cap capturing Pokepuff, Airways Invitation, stuff like that. So it's kind of funny. But yeah, what we're focusing on here is this Vileplume from Ancient Origins, and each player can't play any items from their hand. And this is a stage 2. It's an ability, and so if your opponent is able to ability lock you, that is something to note. And also something very important, tools are not items. So let's see, we got Floatstone. Says it's an item. It's not an item. It's just a Pokemon tool. Due to the new rulings, it's not that new. It's over a year now, but something to keep in mind. Outside of that, the deck plays very few tools. It runs Buddy Buddy Poffin, which searches out almost all of your basics, all of them except for this Giraffe Rig, I believe. Yeah, and then Buddy Buddy Poffin's like really good. And then Tag Call. Tag Call's interesting. This deck's similar to the Rowlet and Alolan Executor deck. It's essentially the same deck, but better, I'd say. And so Tag Call would traditionally search out that card, the Rowlet and Alolan Executor, but here it searches out Guzman Hala. Guzman Hala we'll get to. Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment. But so those are literally the only items you run. You do not run many. Obviously, a lot of decks do run items. As I said, we're just looking at this deck today, and I guess I'll open the other list. This doesn't run Buddy Buddy Poffin at all, which is kind of interesting. But it doesn't, I guess, because you don't have like search for it. But anyways, and then these lists are a little bit different. But as I said, where is it? This list is like the main one with Neo Upper Energy, and all these cards which we'll talk about, versus this one runs some different stuff. But yeah, we got Vileplume. Then we got this other Vileplume from Burning Shadows, and this says as long as it's in the active your opponent's active Pokemon, that is if it's a basic, it can't attack at all. This means it can't. I mean, it can't attack, right? It's not like it doesn't do damage. No, it just can't attack at all. So that's a really, that's bad if you're a basic deck playing against this. In PCGO's expanded format, used to play a lot of Mad Party. PCGO decks were very expensive. Mad Party was not as expensive. It was mostly basics, and it was a lot of items, and it lost to this deck a lot, or the similar version to this deck. Then Vileplume GX, it's another Vileplume. It can like heal and attack. For 180 for Grass Colorless, it does less for each damage counter on it. You do have a GX attacks that burns, paralyzes, and poisons. I don't know the exact use cases of that. Yeah, I'm not sure. But then you can also attack with this Vileplume 60. And it does some special conditions on coin flips, but it's not insane. But yeah, Vileplume is pretty it's a good enough attacker when you're looking at if your opponent isn't doing anything or essentially doing nothing, then this is good enough. And yeah, you can pay it with it runs 2 grass energy and Neo upper energy. You do have some prize access. Gladion is a supporter that lets you just take a card out of your prizes and swap it with Gladion as a supporter, and so that's really useful to grab whatever you need. The list runs a bunch of one-ofs, but a lot of the one-ofs are somewhat redundant. Neo upper energy or basic grass energy can be used to pay the Vileplume attacks, and like Plumeria, Team Skullgrunt, and Team Flaregrunt are kind of similar. Um, yeah, Guzma like isn't, you only have one of that, but Guzma hopefully not necessary. Oh, Faba's also kind of similar to the Energy Disruption. We'll talk about that later though. Um, yeah, and so let's move on to, I guess I'll talk about Rowlet and Alolan Executor, which is not in the deck, but it was the way you would play it. Rowlet and Alolan Executor. This is not the regular right, but that's fine. Super Growth, the attack we want to focus on here for free. The attack we're going to use to replace it is not free, but it's similar. Search the deck for a card that evolves from one of your grass Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it, which is going to be your Oddish to Gloom. And then if that's now stage 1, search for a stage 2 that evolves from it and evolve it. So you instantly get up a one of your Oddishes all the way to a Vileplume, which is nice. Obviously, then you need to decide which Vileplume you're getting, right? So let's talk about Bunnelby now. Or let's talk about TM Evolution, I guess. These two go together. And I guess real quick, I'll also mention Guzman Hala, the supporter that's searchable with Tag Call. Lets you search your deck for a Stadium, a Special Energy, and a Tool. The Special Energy is like important for attacking, and then the Stadium is not that important. Artizone's like nice, but it's not insane. This list runs a Path to the Peak, which is also good, but again, not insane. But then Oh, and also, Path to the Peak. This runs Pidgeot EX, so yeah, Path wouldn't be so good there. But you do have the Stadium, which is nice. You have the Energy, which is important for attacking, but the Tool is crucial because Team Evolution is very important to your deck. So sorry, my voice is a little bit sore today. Hopefully, it shouldn't be too bad though. So you have Evolution, Tactical Machine Evolution with the Attack Evolution, and it just such a, like, why is it named this? I kind of get it, but it's it's a little too on the nose, because it's also a mechanic in the game. But anyways, TMs are tools that let you use the attack on the card, and this says choose up to 2 of your bench Pokemon. For each of those Pokemon, search for a card that evolves from it, put it onto that Pokemon, and it can be the turn that you played it. So you go and you just attack, and you evolve your Oddishes to your Glooms, but that's not quite Vileplume, is it? But you got Bunnelby with its ancient trait, which ancient traits are very similar to abilities. They're a little bit different, but not that different. They're pretty much the same thing. They just can't be turned off by ability lock. But Omega Barrage it's an ancient trait that lets you attack twice, and this doesn't let you use the TMs twice. So you use that, and you evolve 2 of your Pokemon on your bench twice. It could be technically more. You could evolve like 2 Oddishes into a Gloom, into 2 Glooms, then one of the Glooms into a Vileplume, and then another Oddish into another Gloom. That doesn't really make any sense though. I don't know. I imagine most of the time you're gonna get 2 Vileplumes or like Vileplume Pidgeot. You could do Pidgeotto though. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how the deck works. I know the general idea though that you can get a Vileplume in play, potentially 2. You can get just more evolutions in the play, which is really great. And with TM Evolution will fall off after 1 turn as well. So that's something important. I guess you're probably not going to use it again. But then Bumblebee has 2 attacks that are actually really good as well. I feel like this card's arguably ban-worthy. It's a really, really good Sableye and a Rangru, which are similar to this card, were both banned. Yeah, so anyway, Bunnelby has 2 attacks, and keep in mind you can mix and match attacks between Burrow, Rototiller, the 2 attacks here, and then TM Evolution, or Evolution is the attack. Burrow just discards a card from the top of your opponent's deck. This is nice. It's not insane, but it's nice. But then you have Rototiller. Rototiller is insane. Shuffle a card from your discard pile back into your deck. Yeah, and as we'll see, we have some pretty powerful, or at least a good engine. And that engine is the Pidgeot EX engine. Pidgeot EX once in your turn, and keep in mind you can only use one Pidgeot EX ability per turn, so you don't want to get two of this in play. It's not going to do you any good. But once during your turn, you can search your deck for any card, which is really good. Go ahead, you Bunnelby, and put whatever you need back into your deck. Then from there, you go ahead and just search that with Pidgeot, or first you can use Airmail on Pidgeotto to look at the top two cards of your deck, put one into your hand, the other on the bottom of your deck. Keep in mind that you want to avoid shuffling your deck a lot of the time because that card you put in the bottom probably isn't super great. But then with Rototiller, you will shuffle the deck, so keep that in mind. For example, say if you want to choose to use Artisan or not. And then you have you have Pidgeot to search anything, but Pidgeotto just to draw. This is the same ability as Draco coming in the next set. Also, speaking cards coming in the next set, there are some Pokemon with essentially an ability that lets them attack twice, but it does not let them copy the technical machines because of how it's worded, which is it makes them worse by like a lot, unfortunately, and I don't think they're going to be super good on their own. They're like double attacking, but yeah, that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I just figured a few people had questioned about that, and I just wanted to say that. But yeah, this engine's really good. The other list, so remember this was played in the first and fourth. This other list played in the 12th place. Oh, lovely. Runs a different engine. It runs Curlia and Gallade. Gallade's a single prizer that lets you search for a supporter every turn. So a lot of the times you will be using supporters and getting those with Pidgeot. So Gallade is almost as good. It is a single prizer, so it gives up one prize, one less prize than two. And also, Path to the Peak will not turn off its ability, which is pretty nice. Then we also have currently at discard 1, draw 2. Very arguably, this is better than Pidgeotto. And so it'll give you another positive over it. And then I guess Pidgey's attack is like fine. But yeah, I don't know. It has lower HP. And then they're pretty similar though, to be honest. So you can run either one. And then some other attackers. We got a bunch of tech options. We have let's take a look. So we got Giraffrig in both of the lists. Giraffrig is a very common expanding card. It's an attack get lost here. Put two cards from your opponent's discard into the lost zone. This is really great. We see Versus Seeker. Versus Seeker that's not banned in Japanese, right? In Japan. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it's not. No, it's not. So it lets you recover a supporter from your discard into your hand. And there are not a lot of cards that kind of work with the discard. And lost on your cards from your opponent's discard can be super good. It can be like not very useful either. Obviously, if they're not planning on recovering them or doing anything with them, then like why are you lost on them? You're not doing anything. But there are times when it is very good. Especially with Guzma. Guzma is highly played. Guzma switch when your opponent's bench with the one of their active. If you do switch one of your bench with one of your active. And quick note, this other list does not run Neo Upper Energy. It does not run any Ace Spec at all, which is really interesting. Because what Ace Spec would you run? Because you're item locked, so you don't want Prime Catcher. And arguably, this means that Neo Upper Energy is the best Ace Spec, which is pretty crazy in the format where all the Ace Specs are illegal. So that's kind of funny. It's not like the best Ace Spec, but it's really good here, and that's kind of cool. So that what else? I'll talk about special energies now. Capture Grass is not a special energy, but Jet Energy lets you switch in. Many of you know this. And then Capture Energy lets you search your deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto your bench. Really great search. Not insane, but when it is searchable off of Guzma and Hala, and when this other list literally runs no basic Pokemon search in terms of items, because you don't run any tag teams, then it's really good. And then we see here that you like Guzman Hala for it, right? So that's pretty interesting. And then also Gift Energy. Gift Energy is interesting when you're knocked out by damage. You draw till you have 7. It can be useful in certain scenarios. And also, one thing to keep in mind, if your opponent is running something like if you're down to a low deck, right, and they're like attacking you, if they knock you out with Gift Energy, you can technically lose the game. So don't do that, but that's not super likely. I guess I should go to the other attackers as well. In Pokemon, we do have Manaphy, Bench Barrier. It's good. I'm not 100% sure which the best is between Manaphy, Mr. Mime, and the other Mr. Mime. They're very similar. I don't believe any of them can attack with the energy you have, but they do have different weaknesses. Manaphy is easier to obtain, but let's be honest. If you're playing Expanded, the cards aren't cheap. I don't actually know how much of this card is. Yeah, lovely. Okay, so but like Pidgeot is that much. So yeah, Pidgeot's not that expensive. Anyway, so yeah, we have Manaphy though, and then we have ourselves. I mentioned Giraffrig. What else we got? We got some pretty cool Pokemon here. We got Jirachi, which is similar to this Pikachu. So Firefighter Pikachu is what's called, or what? Okay. So Jirachi Stardust for one colorless, it does 10. This was played in Standard back in the day, I think. A little, not as much as I thought, but it discards a special energy from your opponent's active, and then if you do, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. And we'll talk about some other forms of energy disruption in just a moment. Next, we got Fire Fighter Pikachu. Discard a fire energy from your opponent's active. That may seem niche, especially. I'm gonna take a quick look at the results of the tournament, and oh, okay. So Regidrago does play fire energy. But most of these don't run fire energy. But look at a deck like this runs oh, this is not a dragon deck. I thought it was a dragon. It's fine. This deck runs Prism energy or Aurora energy, right? Rainbow energy. Lots of energies to provide lots of different types. In fact, they provide every type. This means that you just discard it with the Firefighter Pikachu. Also, I did not know this was a card. It is not playable internationally, but there are cards similar, I guess. I don't know, to be honest, but that's really interesting. Yeah, so that card, if you are playing internationally, you can't use in like official tournaments, which don't exist. So you can use it for all intents and purposes, right? Especially like I play with proxies, and so I like you can just print it, right? And so that's interesting. You have energy disruption. I'll talk about a few other Pokemon here now. There's just so much stuff going on in these decks. I really like them. So in Thornziax, this we're going to talk about a lot more. Like it's really good. But while it's in the active, its ability is essentially the same as Path. Pokemon in the rule box in play, except future Pokemon don't have any abilities, and you can attack with it sometimes, but not here. And then we have Alolan Persian GX. This card I'm a massive fan of, or at least in like the era that it was in Standard. Prevent all effects or attacks, including damage, done to this Pokemon by your opponent's tag team Pokemon, which are all GXs, Ultra Beasts, and Pokemon that have special energy attached to them. Again, you can't attack with it based on this list, but yeah, you just get to wall a lot of Pokemon. Special energy is super common, so that's really great. Ultra Beasts and tag teams are certainly out there as well. Tag teams are all right. Let me take a quick look at the results. How many of these are tag teams? Looks like, does this even run any tag teams? I feel like it might. I feel like it's common. So I want to take a look, but oh, I can just look here. Sorry, I did not plan this out. So if we look, okay, Limitless is being annoying. Surely some of these run a tag team. I feel like unless they're like not playable in Japan, which I'm pretty sure isn't true. But anyway, tag teams are like good. Maybe this deck runs some like here where okay, come on, there we go. We found a tag team. Yeah, they're played some. They're played not a ton, but they're played some. And they attack. This one doesn't even like damage, so this is not a good example. Maybe they're not played as much as I thought. Gouging Fire. I haven't even looked at this list yet. No, okay. I don't know. Some lists run tag teams, and then some run Ultra Beasts. I'm not going to try to look for those. I feel like I'm not going to find them. But yeah, the big thing, special energy. Going back to the tournament, everything I think except for this deck is special energy based. So yeah, it's pretty good. And then we have oh yeah, that's it for Pokemon. Then energy disruption. We have Faba, Team Flare Grunt, Plumeria, Team Skull Grunt. I don't really feel like talking about them. Faba is kind of like Lost Vacuum. It's better, but it's a supporter. Then we have ourselves I mentioned Stealthy Hood. Actually, it's a tool. It prevents effects of abilities done to the Pokemon this card is attached to, and you remove the effects. which is really interesting. I don't know what it means when you say remove the effects. Um, I don't exactly know it. Like, if you got poisoned by Brute Bonnet, like, does that remove it? I don't know. I don't think so, but maybe. Anyway, um, this card's used to prevent a number of things. For example, Vileplume. If your opponent's running Vileplume, Bunnelby can't attack, but stick this on. Obviously, you can't do it with Team Evolution because no doubling up on tools, but you could use this, and it's important. And oh, sorry for any background noise. And then this other list runs Team Rocket's Handiwork and Bloblin Bryson Man. These are both mill-based cards. We also see Tool Jammer for something. I'm not completely sure, to be honest, but it can be useful. Maybe on like Vileplume. It can be useful. Again, Floatstone gives you free retreat, which is very common, and like very, very common, and stopping that could be useful. But anyways, that's all for today's video. That was a lot of info. Originally, I was wondering if there's enough stuff to say about just this one deck. There 100% is. Tell me how much more you want expanding content. I know a lot of people have been asking for it, and I was like, I don't know how to do it because there hasn't been a lot of expanded stuff going on. We got a massive tournament and expanded, really cool. But I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. And as always, I'm excited to see you in the next video.